How much more expensive is it to live in California compared to Indiana? Let's find out. Hey everyone, I'm Cameron Geesaman with Geesaman Homes, your local real estate broker here in central Indiana. Today we're going to talk about the differences between living in California, my birth state, and Indiana, the state I currently live in. If you're thinking about moving from California to Indiana, then this is the video for you. I'll be talking about median rent, median home prices, median income, and a whole bunch of other numbers that came from census.gov. Are you ready to dig in? Here we go. Let's start with the size of both states. Now, Indiana covers about 35,000 square miles, where California has more than 4 times that and covers about 155,000 square miles. Now, you can fit more than 4 Indianas in the state of California. Let that sink in for a moment. I think driving nearly 4 hours from the bottom to the top of Indiana is a long drive, but can you imagine having to drive the whole length of California? That's going to take at least 12 hours, right? Next, let's talk about the population of both states. Now, in July of 21, Indiana had about 6,813,532 residents. That's specific. Then in July of 22, so 1 year later, Indiana had 6,833,037 residents, again specific, which is an increase of 19,505 people. Now let's look at California. In July of 21, California had 39,142,991 residents. And 1 year later, in July of 22, California had 39,029,342 residents, a decrease of 113,649 residents. That's a lot of people leaving California right now. So what's wild about these figures is that California has 5.7 times more people than Indiana, even though it's 4.3 times the size of Indiana. Now let's get into the income and housing. I think that's where some truly incredible figures shed some light on the differences between these two states. The median household income for Indiana in 21 was $61,944. In California, it was $84,097. Keep those numbers in mind as they're very relevant to the rest of the stats I'm going to talk about. The median value of owner-occupied homes in Indiana from 17 to 21 was $158,500. And during that same time frame, the median value of owner-occupied homes in California was $573,200. Let's put that in perspective by taking the median value of the owner-occupied homes in Indiana and multiplying that by 3, and you get $475,500. That means that homes in California are worth 3.6 times what a home in Indiana is worth. Wow. So to bring that back to the income figures I showed you, people in California are averaging $20,000 more per year in income, yet their houses are worth more than 3 times what they are in Indiana. What that means is that it's much harder for someone in California to buy a house than here in Indiana. Now, the median gross rent in Indiana from 17 to 21 was $891. And in that same time frame in California, it was $1,698. Since then, the rent numbers have climbed in both states to closer to $1,100 per month in Indiana. And I've read articles about rent in California being close to $3,000 per month. Again, with the average income being close to $20,000 difference between the two states, how is someone supposed to afford rent that is 3 times what it is in Indiana? Let's now get into the cost of living index, which uses a 100-point scale. Anything that has a score of 100 is average. So below 100 is below average, duh. And above 100 is above average. Okay, duh. For the state of Indiana as a whole, the cost of living index is 89.9, making it the 8th cheapest state to live in the United States. Compared to that of California, with their cost of living index at 137.6, which is staggering. There are only 2 states with a cost of living higher than California, and they're Massachusetts and Hawaii. Yes, I said Massive two shits. So Indiana is 10% cheaper than the average state to live in, and California is 37% more expensive than the average state to live in. So in California, housing, food, utilities, transportation, and healthcare costs are more expensive than in Indiana. Than in Indiana. No wonder people are leaving California. Now let's talk about property tax, something that everyone loves paying. Don't you love paying property tax? Well, I don't either. But it's necessary to make sure that our schools, police, fire, roads, and everything else that is publicly run has enough money. So per taxfoundation.org, the state of Indiana property taxes are approximately 0.84% of the owner-occupied housing value. In California, property taxes are approximately 0.75%. But let's go back to that median home price of $158,500 in Indiana and $573,200 in California. Take each of those and multiply them by their property tax rate, and you get $1,331 for Indiana and $4,299 in California. So even though the property tax is actually lower in California, you actually pay more than 3 times the amount of property tax versus Indiana. These numbers are just staggering. A homeowner in Fresno will pay much less in taxes than someone in Malibu. We added the links in the description below for the data that we found. Now, is it worth the extra premium to live in California versus Indiana? California can be a wonderful place to visit, but is it a great place to live? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to watch more videos about the great state of Indiana, you can click here. I don't know where here is. Thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you next time.